we have another segment that you all know and love. This has nothing to do with the contest that we're running where you can win a 9.8 slab if you click on the link below. And we've talked about it ad nauseum.
They know this.
Moving on, though. Right now,
rewind it.
Yeah. Right now, Chancellor, so happy to have you here because I think you're going to find this interesting. As somebody you're into NFTs, you're into collectibles, right? You are into collectibles. I was
into collectibles, NFTs pretty early. Yeah.
You know way more than I do about that, especially you've been in it early in the game. So that's something we may need to connect on. But I think you'll find this next segment fascinating here because right now it is the top 10 hottest comics of the week based off of Cover Price's data. That's right. Cover Price sends out a list each and every week of the top 10 hottest comic books based off of data. This list comes out on a Monday. Our show is live on a Friday. What we like to do is we like to get into this list, and Chris picks his 3 most interesting books from the list and tells you why they are interesting. So this week, it's a fun list. It really is a fun list. A lot of new books on the list, and a lot of surprising books. We're just going to get right into it, Chris. Am I right?
Let's do it.
Let's just do it. Here we go. Top 10 hottest comics of the week based off of Cover Price's data. Uncanny. At number 10, we have Uncanny X-Men 213, the first cameo of Mr. Sinister. Psylocke officially joins the X-Men at number 9. The infamous Iron Man, number 1. First Doom as Iron Man and first Tony Stark AI. We saw that in Fresh from the Comic Shop. At number 8, we have Batman Fortnite 0 Point. Number 3. This is literally Snake Eyes versus Batman, but people are excited about this book because of the skin they can get on Fortnite. The Code. Number 7, we have Spider-Man Unlimited. Number 1, first appearance of Shriek. Now that we know that Venom, Let There Be Carnage, she's going to be in there. People are all over this book. At number 6, we have Ghost Rider 31, first full appearance of the Midnight Suns team. This is hot, based off of a rumor. It's all speculation. There is no facts or anything to back that up. At number 5 is Nemesis. Number 1, this is Mark Millar. Goodness, this series is excellent. Number 4 is Red Room. Number 1, E. Marvell. He gives it a thumbs up. It was in his Fresh from the Comic Shop. Number 3 is Mech Cadet U. Number 1, the Marcus variant. At number 2 is Ghost Rider. Number 2, the first appearance of Blackout. And at number 1, we have Ghost Rider. Number 28, first appearance of the Midnight Suns. Chris, get your popcorn out. Get your popcorn out. Here's the deal. I loved that Ghost Rider series. I love Mark Teixeira's art. I'm happy to see this is on the list after 30 years or so. But anyways, do you need to finish that bag of popcorn before you get in your 3 most interesting picks of the week?
Ideally, I'd be eating it and talking about my 3 picks at the same time, but I can't do that. So I do encourage you all to get your popcorn, though, because we got a juicy one today.
Time out. I just want to point out the sacrifices Chris makes for this show. Did you see? I wish I could rewind. I wish we had a tape deck here. We could rewind to show Chris put down that popcorn to concentrate on you guys, the audience, for him to dish out his 3 most interesting picks of the week. Go for it, Chris.
This is popcorn ready stuff, guys. All right. In all seriousness, all right. There's a theme here. I got 3 picks like we normally do, but there's a theme here, okay? And I know I'm bringing humor into it and I'm kind of joking around. But it's really a serious talking point, all right? And the theme is uneducated buying. So we're going to look at 3 books and we're going to put a question mark when we're examining these books and say, are these books getting hot because of uneducated buyers doing uneducated buying? All right. So before I get into too much of the details, let's try to break down the books one by one. Okay. So let's start off with number 3 that I picked. That's Uncanny X-Men 213. First cameo, Mr. Sinister, who I'm big on Mr. Sinister right now, by the way. Psylocke actually officially joins the X-Men team in this book as well. And look, it's a classic Wolverine Sabretooth cover. So we're going to isolate this book actually from the top 2. Okay. Now, the reason why we're going to put the question mark on this book of, is this uneducated buyers or uneducated buying, right? Here's the thing. This book on this list, and I know the image isn't a newsstand, but the specific book that made the list was in the Newsstand edition. All right. So here's the thing: newsstands in the ideology around go after the newsstand has increased a lot over the last year, mostly because you have more and more people, you know, due to COVID, sitting on YouTube and on social media, and we've been able to learn about comic books more than maybe say before. And there's always a lot of talk going on about newsstands. Let's look at this book specifically. This book was released in 1981. The ratio of newsstands to direct in 1981 was 80 to 20. That means, and that's in favor of newsstands. So basically, when this book was released, 80% of the market was newsstand. Only 20% of the market was direct. So you have a situation where you have more newsstands on the market, but you have a book in newsstand potentially getting hotter because it's a newsstand. Well, let's look at the numbers, okay? Kind of play devil's advocate here. We had a $75 high raw sale, okay? That's in newsstand. CGC 9.8, all right? There was a $575 sale, and there was also on eBay $725 best offer accepted. Now, what that means is they had a buy it now price of $725, but then had a best offer option, and we, the public, aren't able to see what that actual end sale amount was. But at $725, you can't think it could have been too much lower. I wouldn't assume that they'd accept the price lower than $650. So, you know, you got this book selling anywhere from basically $575 to about $700. All right, CGC 9.8 newsstand. Now, let's look at high raw direct, $65. That's only $10 less than the high newsstand. All right, but the average is around $35, which is a bit more lower than that newsstand. All right, a high CGC 9.8 direct, $399. That is substantially lower. That's substantially lower than the newsstand. So here's my thing. I'm not sitting here and saying, yes, this is uneducated buying. I'm putting the question mark on it. I'm asking the question, and I want all of you to ask yourself the question and then do your research. Here's one thing about newsstands, though, even in the earlier 80s. Newsstands were marketed in a way to where they were handled and they were not kept in as pristine condition as directs. So even though they were a majority of the market still, there might be less high grades on the market. And another fact that you need to understand is in the newsstand market, when dealers and retailers got their comic books from the newsstand market and they didn't sell, what could they do? They could rip half of the cover off and send it back to the publisher to get a credit. So at the end of the day, that 80-20 percentage is not quite accurate. So again, I'm not going to sit here and say that, guys, you know, these early 80 years newsstands where newsstands were flooding the market, or so it may seem, don't pay more for those. I'm not saying that, but just still, I do advise you to be educated. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts to that on this.
I feel more educated.
Say it again, Chancellor.
That is good. That is
I
good.
feel more educated.
Good, because it's important to know this. Like, again, this has become a hot thing in the last couple of years of this newsstand variant, right?
Yep.
Just to throw it out there, basically, it's a barcode for direct, which was local, which was comic book shops would get kind of an art in there, right? Most of the time you'd have a Spider-Man face for Marvel, DC, Batman, or what have you. Now, if this was in a bookshop or a grocery store or 7-Eleven, it would have this right here. And those are they were more rare printing 85 and after, but also harder to keep in good condition because they were on spinner racks in a local comic book shop. They would take care of those things. So Chris, you make a very good point. Be careful. Don't buy into the hype of a newsstand before 85. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I want to correct myself. I need to correct myself. I said that this book was released in 81. It was released in 86. So I apologize about that. So the ratio was different. I'm going to call myself out on that because I need this information to be accurate.
Your point was made.
Yeah, in 86, so the ratio was about 50-50. So there you go. So now, you are, when we look at this specific book, you can kind of weigh that option a little better and say, okay, well, they're kind of 50-50 on the market. And then you take all the other factors of, newsstands being able to be returned for credit with the cover ripped off, for the fact that newsstands probably more than not were handled differently and not kept in its pristine condition. So you got to really take all those into consideration. So, for a high raw newsstand of this book at 75 next to a high direct at 65, there's not much differentiation there. To a book like Deadpool, when New Mutants 98 came out, at that point in time, the newsstand market was probably roughly about 20%. So that's why when you look at that book, especially in a 9.8, those newsstands are going to go for that top tier dollar premium next to a direct.
No doubt. All right. Moving on to your second most interesting pick of the week.
All right. Yes. So my top two picks, when we go back to the theme of uneducated buying, okay, these are in the same category. We're not talking about newsstands or directs anymore, okay? So let's just go over these books, all right? I'm going to talk about both the books, and then I'm going to give you context to my concerns. Number 2 on my list was Ghost Rider number 2. All right, this is the first appearance of Blackout. This had a 229% increase in sales. It had a high CGC 9.8 of $178. It had a high raw sale of $75. All right. Now, I'm going to come back to this book, but we're going to talk about my number 1 pick before I do. My number 1 pick was Ghost Rider 28. First appearance in cameo of the Midnight Suns. All right, check out these numbers. High CGC 9.8, $500. Last week, a high CGC 9.8, $150. 180% increase in sales, and boy, is this book booming. Okay, here's the thing. Uneducated buying. The reason that these books are on this list, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to guarantee you the reason these books were on this list was because there was a YouTube channel that did a quick 2-minute video stating that it's official, Marvel Studios is doing a Midnight Suns film, and Blackout is going to be a big character in this film. So Blackout, Ghost Rider 2, which is my 2 pick. Midnight Suns, Ghost Rider 28, which is my number 1 pick. This YouTube channel has 27,000 subscribers, which is a lot, but they only get like 80, 90 views on their videos, okay? All their videos are really random. They're really random. They have like WWE stuff, weird interviews of people that I don't even know who they're interviewing, and they don't get views. And quite honestly, I'm going to make an assumption here, an educated hypothesis, that this channel bought their views or bought their subscribers. You can do that, by the way. You can do that. I'm not going to get into the details about that, but you can do that. So I left a comment on this video. I never got a reply. Their source, they said that their source that basically...
Now, can I interrupt you?
Go ahead and interrupt.
Midnight Suns is confirmed.
Confirmed, yes.
They stated that.
Yep, they stated it was confirmed. Their source for Marvel Studios, their source was basically a guy that works for them. They said it is confirmed thanks to so-and-so that's a part of us. So I went and found so-and-so on Twitter, and I went and found them on Instagram. They don't have much of a following. Everything they post on Twitter and Instagram gets like maybe 1 like, which is very odd. And I try to contact them and message them on every platform. I got no reply. So what happened after this is another YouTuber who, this is, they actually may be watching right now. I'm not bad mouthing them. I have much respect for all these individuals. It seems that they got wind of this and they made a video talking about, hey, look, we're going to show off these books. They're the first appearance of these characters. This other YouTube channel talked about it, saying there was a movie confirmed. And again, hypothesizing, putting two and two together, getting my detective hat on. This YouTube video from these YouTubers that we all respect greatly here got thousands and thousands of views. And it wasn't until after that video that these books started to spike. So here's my problem. I'm going to talk about Journos Comics, and I'm going to talk about Comic Book Canon. When we do the news on Comic Book Canon, and I'm speaking for Jeff right now too, we do not speak about anything unless we know that it is a confirmation or official from a reliable source, a credible source. That's why earlier today, Jeff was adamant to call me out and say, whoa, hold on. I don't know if it's been confirmed that Tom Hardy and Tom Holland are set to meet up. And I'm like, well, I really thought I heard that. So now I got to go check, because if I was wrong, then I'm not doing my job right? Because we pride ourselves in making sure that the information that we deliver is factual. You know, it's just like anybody that's gone to school. You took even one English class in a junior college. You know, you want to write a thesis statement. What's a thesis statement? An argument. What's an argument? A valid point. If you're going to try to speak a valid point, which is what? Fact, you have to have at least a few credible sources to back up that claim. So let's talk about Journos Comics now. Now, some of you may say, well, you know what? Even if this isn't confirmed or not for Midnight Suns of Blackout, hey, it might be a good spec. That's true. I'm going to tell you what I do on my channel. What do? I spec all the time. I make top 10 videos about X-Men books, about, well, when the X-Men show up, I think Mr. Sinister might show up because of this, that, and this. And you know what some people that watch my channel might do? They might say, hey, I like what he's saying. I'm going to go look on eBay and buy it. So am I doing the same thing that's being done with these Ghost Rider books? No. You want to know why? Because when I do those videos and I talk about speculation, I bring fact and data, which is facts about the books. Okay, this is first appearance of so-and-so. Why? And then I put my personal opinion to it. I say, this is my personal opinion that I think this is a good book to spec on. But then I tell you why. So I'll bring facts. Kevin Feige has said they're going with folks that you've never seen before when they bring X-Men in the MCU. Okay, who haven't we seen before? Mr. Sinister, Polaris. So, hey, how about X-Men 49 and X-Men 50? First, second appearance of Polaris. Maybe that's a good book. Never, ever will I say a source told me this or that Marvel Studios is doing this unless I know from a credible source that is proven fact. We all like to spec and get ahead of the game, and we go and make purchasing decisions with our own autonomous free will accordingly. Nobody's twisting anybody's hand here. Just like with these Ghost Rider books, nobody twisted anybody's hand. People paid $150 for a book last week, and then more people made autonomous decisions to go pay $500 for that same book this week. It's not manipulating the market because people sat there and made a decision to do it. But here's the problem where we're riding a fine line. They're making those decisions trusting the words of content creators. So the moral of the story of my 3 picks tonight: educated buying. Because I'm going to tell you something. If somebody paid $500 for a Ghost Rider 28 for the first cameo appearance of Midnight Suns because they listened to a YouTuber that said this other YouTuber that has a very sketchy and questionable account confirmed by Marvel Studios that they're going to be in a movie, 6 months pass, and a year passes, and 2 years pass, and 3 years pass, and we don't have no Midnight Suns movie, and that book goes back down to being a $150 book. Not only may they be upset, but they may hold you accountable for giving you that wrong information. And that's not only a good look for them and how they feel about the hobby, but it's not a good look for you in your public perception. You know, and we can, like I said, and I'll end on this. I could sit here and speculate about Midnight Suns and Blackout. All right. And I could say this. Okay, let's see this. We got Multiverse of Madness coming. Right? Sam Raimi. I don't think Sam Raimi's going to stop there. Sam Raimi, Kevin Feige, they're working some things. We got Blade coming. We know that's happening. All right. We know that Marvel is setting up the horror genre for the MCU. So, what are some undervalued books with some first appearances and some characters? We got the Darkhold too. Forgot to talk about that. And the Darkhold plays into a lot of this, right? You could sit here and you could say then, okay, so let's talk about some books that could be hot spec books. Ghost Rider #2, first appearance of Blackout. Ghost Rider 28, first cameo of Midnight Suns. Ghost Rider 31, first full appearance of Midnight Suns. And then if I said that, or a YouTuber said that, and then people start going and buying those books, and 150 increases to 300, increases to 400, increases to 500, then it's all good. Because you are not giving them false information. So, as content creators, with great power comes great responsibility. That's cliche line. I live by it, and what I do, I know we do here on Comic Book Canon. As buyers, be educated. FOMO's real, and hey, FOMO can be fun if we FOMO right. But there's a wrong way to FOMO too, and that's when you aren't educated. Always do your homework. Always make sound decisions to make sure that you are confident with the money that you are putting into this hobby.
I have some points to make, but before we do, Chancellor has been so nice to give us all of this time, this whole show. He's got to jump, but again, Chancellor, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for the opportunity
for sure.
With whatnot. Again, super excited to be working with you. Super excited to see what slabs you're going to bring each and every week to give out to our Fresh from the Comic Shop winners. We will continue this relationship, and we'll probably have you on a couple more times. How's that sound?
Cool. Let's do it. Yeah. I mean, I told you guys before too, everyone I've met within the community has been awesome. Glad to be working within the comic space. So a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great to have you tonight too, man.
Have a great night.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right. But I do have points to make on what Chris was just saying. There's a few things here. These guys, this YouTube channel was saying it was absolutely confirmed. Marvel confirmed it. It was never confirmed. If you do a Google search on Midnight Suns movie, Midnight Suns, Marvel Cinematic Universe, there is nothing there. Because if they did get an exclusive, if they did report this news as if it were a fact, the trades would have picked it up in a heartbeat and it would have been everywhere. They would have gotten credit for it. Not a peep from anybody else out there. So you can make speculation. If they do have sources saying, hey, our sources are saying this is going to happen and I really trust our sources, sure. But you can't say this as fact. And there was a comment up here that I just want to address real quick, not calling you out. It's a known fact that Doctor Strange is going to lead into mystic and paranormal stuff. Yes, it is a known fact. What we do know as fact is Doctor Strange 2 is coming. Scarlet Witch will be in there, right? Yep. We know that as fact. That's going to open up the door to more mystical stuff. But there is no fact on Ghost Rider. There is a fact on Blade. That's fact.
Yep.
But there's no fact on Ghost Rider. There's no fact on any of the other Midnight Suns properties. So could it happen? Yeah, definitely. And I could see it likely happening. If I were to put money on it, yes. Yep. But again, to go out and say that to 27,000 followers is irresponsible in our opinion. That's it.
Yeah. Again, like to your point, look, and here's the thing. Marvel Studios may come out, let's see, say after the release of Doctor Strange 2, right? Which is less than a year away now. That's next March still, right? If I can remember correctly. We're playing hypotheticals though here. So, say a few months from now, Marvel Studios does make an announcement and a credible source says, hey, Midnight Suns is official. All right. I don't care if it happens 3 months from now, 6 months from now. If some guy on YouTube saying it right now is saying it and he doesn't have a credible source, it's still wrong. Because what I think Jeff and I are both saying here, and I just said this a few minutes ago, we could sit here and assume, just like when we were in the news talking about Okoye, and I sat there and said, I mean, it was pretty obvious that Okoye is going to show up in the next Black Panther movie, and most likely the Wakanda TV show. But I can't sit there and say it's official. Okoye is going to be in the next Black Panther movie and the TV show just because I'm assuming it, just because the probability of it happening is high. Just because the probability is high, I can't sit here and tell you that it's freaking fact. I can't. That is dishonest journalism. It's not journalism. You can't even call it journalism, because journalism is fact-based. So that's the biggest thing here, guys. We could talk about spec and we could drive the spec world. I love doing it myself, but we have to be careful on how we use our words and how we talk about these things. All right. It's very, very important for the collectors. It's important for us and our brand, not us as in Comic Book Canon and journals, us as in all of these content creators, all of you content creators out there. We have to build trust within the community. And if we get carried away with distorting the facts, it's not going to be good.
It's true. Even Variety with that Okoye says reports indicate this is going to happen. That's not fact, but that's how you angle it, saying we're hearing this, right? Now, Geek Driven, Chris, you know a lot because you have a master's in business. There's a lot of people speculating on stocks and saying it on YouTube. No difference with comic books. Always the buyer's decision to purchase or not. Take responsibility of your own actions. You should take responsibility of your own actions. You should do the research, right? But at the same time, people should not just start spewing shit.
Yep.
And
okay.
Are there regulations for that in stocks, Chris?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. Geek Driven. So basically, Geek Driven. I agree 100%, but I hope you're not saying this to kind of play devil's advocate against what I'm saying. Because basically, what happened with these Ghost Rider books is like saying, guys, go buy Apple stock right now. Like unload your savings account on it, because I know tomorrow it's going to take a 15 point increase. How do I know that? How do I know that? I don't. So if I tell you, even now, financial analysts can sit here and run, algorithms and stuff, and they can advise you to say, the way the market is going, the way the stock's been performing, we suggest that you look at this stock and what this stock is doing, because we think that it has a chance of moving up this many points or moving up like this. There's a huge difference in terms of actually speculating to move your investments around than stating something as fact. And the only fact of the stock market, the only fact is insider trading, and that's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it's a little different, because look, stuff gets leaked, and when it comes to movies and comic books and all this stuff, and it's not illegal. But even if something gets leaked, we have to do our due diligence as reporters to say it has been leaked from an unreliable source that this might happen. Unless you know that unless you were like in a board meeting at Disney and Marvel Studios, and you like secretly recorded Kevin Feige talking about, or Sarah Haley Finn talking about a casting of a Ghost Rider for a Midnight Suns film or something, right? So again, two different things. We could speculate all we want and speculate at your own risk, buy at your own risk. But if people are buying based on somebody stating something as fact, that right there is negligent. It is negligent.
And I'm also seeing a comment in here that this Okoye Disney series is a fact. It is happening. That's not the case. It is not confirmed. Reports are saying, this was from a day ago. This article, I'm putting it in the chat right here, from Deadline. The first thing that they say, we hear from sources that Dana Guerrera will be returning as Okoye. That's not fact. That is a speculation from their sources.
Yep.
So we can't say that that's fact yet, guys. That's what we're talking about. You can say our sources are saying this, and if you want to trust their sources and trust these people, that's fine. But when somebody says this is fact and there's no other information out there, that's not fact.
And it's not an Okoye series. It's speculation around the Wakanda series.
Yeah. It's not confirmed. This is based off of yesterday's news cycle. I just did a Google search on that again. Nothing new has come from that. There has been no confirmation. So anyways.
I want to bring up one more point here too. Comic Ozzy said it's like what happened with Mephisto.
Good point.
But here's the thing still. Here's the thing. Mephisto got hot because of fans speculating and guessing. Nobody came out and said, it's confirmed Mephisto's going to be in WandaVision. No, we all were like playing detective with our magnifying glasses, following the breadcrumbs. And we wanted so bad for something to be big in the show at the end. And we all assumed it was Mephisto, and it made Mephisto's books boom. That's natural. That's a natural, change in market, because we as buyers and collectors autonomously made the decision based on speculation, and that's what we do, and that's okay. If somebody came out and said it's confirmed, Marvel Studios confirmed that Mephisto is going to be in WandaVision, and then it turned out to be a lie, do you even think, dude, like seriously right now, there would be hysteria in part of the market right now, and I guarantee you those Mephisto books would be dropping and crashing like
and
fire.
That's the thing, and it's going to catch up to any of these people that are saying this thing is fact. Could it happen? Yes, it could happen, but it's not fact yet, and I think that's going to bite a lot of people in the ass, to be honest with you. And just one more thing from Kamikaze, we really appreciate your participation in the show, and Fresh from the Comic Shop, love it. But there was rumor Okoye was getting a spinoff series. Yes, there is rumor. And this Deadline report and all these other articles that have come out since yesterday are actually building that rumor up to the point where Marvel will probably have to make an announcement soon if this is true. Because again, these are reputable sources, Deadline and The Hollywood Reporter, things like that. They report on fact. They do their best as journalists to report on fact.
Yep. I just want to, one last point, we can move on. But I can't imagine, and I know I'm going to say this person's name, but this person gets a lot of slack already because there's so many people out there that are conspiracy theorists or say that they're manipulating the market. Can you imagine if Comic Tom and Gem Mint came out and said, guys, Marvel Studio has confirmed Wolverine is going to show up in, just something. If Comic Tom and Gem Mint sat on their show and stated that there was a confirmation that had no base to it, do you know what it would do to them? It would ruin their careers. It would. You think, look, because people hate already. There's always going to be haters out there, and anybody that gets success, you're going to get doubters, you're going to get haters, especially in the platform of YouTube. Can you imagine if they did that? Like there wouldn't be any coming back from that. I don't think really. Or if they did,
I think there's a lot of people. Like honestly, I think in this day and age, you can backtrack in whatever. I don't think you can make the comparison to what these specific YouTubers that are stating something as fact, which there's no information on whatsoever. They don't give a shit. They're trying to get traction, right? And they don't give a fuck if even if it's wrong and it's irresponsible, they don't care. They're trying to get attention, and they'll backtrack from that. Be like, you know what? It just hold on. You'll see it. You'll see that we're right. Just hold on. Because there's a lot of people in politics these days that do the same exact thing.
But they don't have anything to lose. These people, they don't have anything to lose. That's what if anybody's, but somebody like Comic Tom or Gem Mint, who actually run a legitimate business as YouTubers, or as, Tom, has his eBay store and a comic shop and everything that he's affiliated with. you know, it boils down to credibility. And you build yourself on trust. Any company in any business, in any industry builds itself on trust. And you can produce clickbait like this YouTube channel that we talked about, buy some subscribers and do clickbait saying Marvel Studios has confirmed these announcements when they haven't. And, you know, but you're never going to be more than that. You're never going to be nothing but a shell of an account on YouTube that does nothing but clickbait. Whereas, you know, like I'm telling you, like if if anybody, that's why I don't want any solidified YouTubers that I care about looking at a YouTube channel like this and regurgitating it. Because I don't want their credibility.
I agree. Yeah, we care about that.
To hurt from it, you know? Yeah.
So, anyways, I think that's all we need to say on that, guys. Just do your research. Honestly, if you hear this from people like us, even if we say this is confirmed, but usually when we're dishing the news, it's like, oh, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Oh, according to this outlet. But if you hear, I mean, even check on us. Check on our facts. Tell us when we're wrong, because we'll own it, right? But if you're about to pull the trigger on a book you think is going to be hot and you're ahead of the game, just do a quick Google search just to see what other people are saying about this. Because if there's a huge announcement on an outlet that you've never heard of, fact of the matter is people have ears to the ground. They will jump on that to try and get it out there to their regular readers, right? That's the name of the game. So just do a quick research, call people out who are not dishing out the truth, even us. If we're wrong, we'll own it. We'll own it.
Absolutely.
Connor 44 looks like he was late. Who are you guys talking about? Is there a big announcement?
There is a big announcement. Sign up for the Whatnot app.
Boom!
Get $3 off your first purchase and follow Comic Book Canon on the app and have a chance to win a slab book when you enter fresh from the comic shop.
Guys, for at least the next 4 weeks, we will be giving out 9.8 slabs for your submissions to Fresh from the Comic Shop. Everybody who follows the instructions will be submitted to be able to win. You guys will be able to vote on 2 finalists, and you can win a 9.8 slab. Sponsored by our partner, Whatnot. Guys, hit it up right now. Whatnot.com/invite/Comic Book Canon. The link is down below. Sign up. You'll get $3 off your first purchase. Follow Comic Book Canon. Follow us. Because that'll make you eligible to win Fresh from the Comic Shop each and every week that we do on the Instagram. We'll dish out the instructions again this week. Guys, whoa, this has been an amazing show. God, here we go, look. Slide is the villain in the next Spidey. Caleb Leland, confirmed, absolutely. Fact, that's not true. That is not true, everybody. That is not true. Guys, thank you so much again for joining us each and every week. You guys absolutely amaze us. Your contributions to the show, just the energy you guys bring. Chris and I literally feed off of it each and every week. We look forward to it. So again, another amazing episode. Super excited about this sponsorship with Whatnot. We hope you guys participate. Hopefully they see good numbers from us, and they'll continue after the 4 weeks, which is a good possibility. So, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Chris.
Thank you. My final words is this: just because you make a statement and include #facts doesn't make it fact.
Absolutely. 100%. Well said. We're just going to end on that. Guys, we will be back again next week with another super fun episode of Comic Book Canon. We're live every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Next week, we have a special guest. We will make that announcement on early next week as well, with the instructions on how to win a 9.8 slab.